And to talk a little bit more about this, Professor Sampson Mamphweli, Director of the Center for Renewable and Sustainable Energy Studies at the University of Stellenbosch, to explain what is the means of the growth of renewable energy in this country and what are the challenges that lie ahead. Thank you so much for joining us, Professor. So the President has announced that they'll be amending the Schedule 2 of Electricity Act to get more power. Is this the plan that will build new power capacity? And I know there's also a deadline for some of these to at least have reached financial closure by July. What happens if they don't?
Thank you, Tsebiso, and thank you to the viewers. This is a good plan. It's the right step towards the right direction. However, we're not very much optimistic about it because the gist is now in the regulations themselves that will come with this. You will remember that not long ago, that same act was amended to allow municipalities to buy directly from independent power producers. And we hailed that as well as the right step towards the right direction. However, when you look at the amendments that allow municipalities to buy directly from independent power producers, they don't really help a lot because there are a number of bottlenecks that came with those kind of regulations. And since the amendment was done, I think that was sometime last year, we should have seen a number of projects reaching financial close. But at this point in time, we've got no single project that has reached financial close from that kind of exercise. For the current kind of exercise, for us to see some form of financial close of projects within 2 to 3 months, it's going to be very difficult. I know there are a number of other few role players in the sector that were looking mainly at generation of generation of electricity for self-consumption, and most of them were still looking at below 10 megawatts. That was allowed by the National Energy Regulator. So now, if we look at the current challenge with the energy shortages. If we now say that we can go up to 100 megawatts at the industry level, that's all good and well, but the regulations, I presume, will still say that people still need to go through processes such as environmental impact assessment, because there's no study that has been done, and that process on its own takes about 18 months.
So what happens if the preferred bidders don't reach financial closure or commercial operation? So is there a withdrawal of the agreement?
Not really, not necessarily. They will reach financial close, but we don't anticipate that financial close will be reached between the amendment of the regulations and the amendment of the Act and the enactment of the regulations and the time that we really need energy. We need energy like now. My projection is that such projects could take up to 6 months to a year to build, because they will be building this from not only from renewable energy, but from various sources, including your waste to energy kind of projects. So I don't see any project that has not gone through environmental impact assessment now being built and feeding onto the grid anytime soon.
All right. So is there a tangible framework on the role of the renewable energy utility scale generating technologies? So that would be coal, nuclear, hydro, solar, photovoltaics. And I'm also thinking about permission from the ports authorities.
Yes, there's a big role for renewable energy to play. It's unfortunate, Tsebiso, that we find ourselves in this kind of a situation because of the delay in the implementation of the Integrated Resource Plan 2010. If we had implemented the Integrated Resource Plan 2010 properly from the time that it was approved by cabinet way back in 2010, we wouldn't be in this kind of a situation. Now, when we look at renewable energy projects in general, utility scale that are in the REAP program, most of them take about 2 years to actually reach, to actually start feeding into the grid. And for them to, we're looking now at bid window 5 that has been opened now. That bid window 5 has not yet, the projects have not yet been allocated to begin with. So we're looking at processing of that bid window 5 until the preferred bidders have been named, and then from that time that the preferred bidders have been named, they will then go out and look for finance and then reach financial close. So that's a process, a long process.
Let me ask this question before we run out of time. I know there's still a lot to discuss in terms of market barriers, localization of these industries, but are we being inventive enough in future-proofing South Africa's carbon-intensive industries?
Yes, we have a very brilliant plan. If you look at the integrated resource plan, that's a brilliant plan. If we implement that plan the way it is, that is going to help us in terms of our carbon footprints. It's going to help us also in terms of our security of supply. The other aspect that we all not looking at is the aspect of grid capacity. We all looking at the security of supply, the shortage of electricity, but what we have seen so far through studies is that our grid also needs reinforcements a lot. So as soon as all this energy that we're looking for and that we're planning for comes onto the grid, we'll start to have breakdowns in terms of transmission and distribution lines. So that's another area that needs serious and urgent attention so that we don't act at the last minute. But I welcome the announcement by the President. Is going to help a lot. That this kind of announcements should have come a bit more earlier, as one of the speakers was saying.
Thank you so much for speaking to us. Professor Sampson Mamphweli, Director at the Center for Renewable and Sustainable Energy Studies at the University of Stellenbosch. We're going to take a quick break. Do stay with us.